Bowlers rolling rawhide. Hi guys, welcome back to Clash with Barndo. Just a quick recap of our latest war win, 230 versus the Symbols. I think they were a Chinese clan. Where are we? International. So just a small war, 20 versus 20. I know it was at 25, so the current one we're in is 20 versus 20. We've got a few people out. So 25 versus 25. They didn't really go gangbusters. They did miss a couple of Town Hall 11s. They missed some of our 9s further down. But then again, we didn't really go gangbusters. We did leave their 2 and 3 with just the 1 star. They were anti-2-star bases. So rather than muck around with them on Barndo 80 specifically, I went and nutted out some fresh hits on their 5 and 7s to their Town Hall 10s. So won by the 3 stars. Percentage was a fair bit more. All of their Town Hall 9s, bar 1, I think, down the bottom there was left. We didn't use extra Town Hall 10s for that. We just kept going with the practicing. So, I'm not going to show a heap of replays, but I will show a few. I've got one here from Barndo 80. This was a fresh hits 3-star. You can see the bullying is becoming very, not easy, I would say, but if you use a little bit of thought process, it's getting easier. The hitting down, because that's exactly what you're doing as a Town Hall 11 versus 10. You are hitting down. It is sort of getting to that point where it's a bit simpler. So you can see mass bowlers. That's going to be the army with just the 5 healers, I think it was. I've thrown them all on the queen at the start. Didn't use my second poison here. That was a bit of a miss sight, but I've herded well. I want the bowlers to go through the middle. I'll just pause that. Excuse me, still a bit crook. Now you can see I did a 5-point jump. Now the reason I'm doing that is because that jump's going to put all of my bowlers in the middle and give them access to both of those Inferno Towers. So you can see the early Warden's ability. There's a couple of reasons. One reason is I didn't want it to dump a loon on top of the Queen. And the other reason was you can see why. Even as a fresh base, you can see it was likely going to be a double giant bomb in front of the Town Hall there. So you use your Warden's ability for the first one, then you freeze the second one. It's a pretty basic strat. A few hogs for the tail end, and thank you, Mother, for the rabbits. That'll be 3 stars. You can see I probably did hog wrong by putting just a couple hogs down at that archer tower. I probably should have used the rest of them as a swarm coming from above it. But plenty of healers left. Still got the Queen's ability. We'll speed it up. Lots and lots of blue fellas hanging around. You can see I held on to that Queen ability for absolutely as long as possible because those healers were nowhere near the Queen. I was just hoping by some pure luck and magic that the healers would make it over. And they did. They made it over. Old Queenie, she lives to fight another day. Bugger all health, but just enough. And yeah, good. It was a 6-star war for me with Barndo 80 on 2 fresh hits. They are becoming that little bit more consistent. So Din also had a couple of 3 stars on their bottom Town Hall 10s. That's definitely what got us over the line. Now for Town Hall 9 action, I've got a replay here from Phoenix. I think this was the 2nd hit on the base. I don't think it was a fresh one. And Phoenix has gone in with a Queen Walk, GoVaHo, just a single golem by the looks. A good healthy contingent of Valks, probably including from the Clan Castle. Good look with the Queen Walk there. These guys had a lot of really good bases. It was an impressive walk from their base design. And they did use a lot of minion loon or minion dragon armies for Clan Castles, I should say. So you see the Queen, she gets a fair chunk. Out come the redheads, they're angry, they're ready to go. And I like where that jump and heal were placed. That gets access to all 4 cells and gives those Valks a good healthy chunk of healing in the meantime. The healers off the Queen, they swap over because she's got no incoming damage and they're going to get a lot more use out of those. And it works well. This is why I like healers and armies. I really do love them because if you can get them on right, even if you're using 4 and a Queen Walk, if you can position it so your walk's going to interlap with your main raid, then as you see there, the King got healed, the Valks got healed, and another one, thank you, Mother, for the rabbits. Well done, Phoenix. Next one I'm going to show is Dennis. Dennis had a 6-star war as well. 6 fresh. Now what I liked about this was I've just linked out the Lightning LavaLoon raid for my strategy talks, and I was actually talking about this attack with someone else, and she chickened out. That was Beck. But Dennis has read the base. He's looked at what we were talking about, and he's used it, and first hit 3-star this base, and I love seeing it. So you see the Lightnings go out there. I'm just going to run this at 1 speed for now. That saved him 1 haste. This is probably the only difference I would see, is with 1 extra loon he probably could have got the same effect, or maybe not. Either way, he's got 3 defences down for 4 loons, taking out 1 red trap, drawn the clan castle, and he's going to take that up top with where he's going to give it a bit of a how you going with his royals. So just his king and his queen. He's not going to get huge traction out of this king. Level 20 royals, but definitely a good strategy. So he's saving his units for the rest of his air contingent. Queen does take a bit of time to work through that dragon, but with the king, that's had quite a few barbarians up to be able to tank for the queen, which is then going to get her 2 more. Now what could have probably happened here was he could have probably used maybe 1 healer on the queen. This is all after the fact, and we look at these, and that queen herself, with her ability, would have gotten those 4 defences and kept going. But instead he's chose to run the hound across. The reason he's done that, this is actually a penta hound. He's got 5 hounds. So it gives him a whole heap of tanking capacity, and no need to worry about losing a hound or 2 early, because that was quite deep, that first air defence, and then that's definitely deeper again, and he's chose to run that. So then that way, the hounds, you need them to take some damage. When you're running so many hounds, you actually do need them to take that damage. Unfortunately, the queen, she dies in the end, and the hounds, they start mapping through. So that's probably one of the things I would say on the raid. Possibly could have dropped 1 hound and put maybe 2 healers on the queen, and then that way you would have started your hounds at a little bit shorter range, maybe from more like 2 o'clock, and they would have achieved the same but kept that queen up. But you can see now nothing stopping these loons. The queen is taking her slice from the hounds, but those minions are the pups slowly working it down. Out come the rest of the pups. Still got that 1 hound left. Lots of pups everywhere. Last hound splits. Excuse me. And you can see all the DPS. He had an extra few minions. No, he didn't. Just the archer. That's the queen's archers by the looks of it. Just enough to be able to get through. So I think he had about 10 seconds or something like that left in the raid. Probably one of the best hits I saw in the war. For Dennis does play different armies, and he uses his dragon holo. This was a HeVa from Dennis. I won't show that, as I'll show Muzz's hit on 17. They're both fresh hits. But, you know, to show Dennis can do both the dragon armies, the penta hounds, all these kinds of things, mix it all up. It's just great to see. Now, Muzz has gone in with a HeVa, so just the 1 hog, and the hog is for the CC lure. But Muzz has done well with this. And sending the queen on queen action, I think, was the general aim. You can see a wizard on the left-hand side there. He was used to get the quick herd on to push that queen counterclockwise. And you can see still hasn't aggroed the queen yet. But what's good about that is does get the cannon down, and then with just 1 poison, doesn't need to rage, doesn't need to use ability, does that brilliantly. So we see now those minions and loons that I was talking about. Brilliant spot on that poison, because those minions all take damage from it, and then the loons are going to get slowed up. See, absolutely fantastic work from the queen on his walk there. Now you can see he's gotten rid of 1 building over on the top left there at 9 o'clock. The queen, he's popped the ability. I don't actually know. I think that looked like that must have been a misclick as he dropped his king down next. So That's all I would have to assume then. But it kind of worked in his favour because he got that air defence down a lot quicker than what would have happened without. So save those healers. Now you can see he's still got 3 rages left. Jumps those Valks, so they're going to cross over all 3 of those groups. That's going to be the core middle. That's going to be the core group. Now the Queen, she's going to walk around. And I think the healers swapped from memory. Old Jimmy Bob and the Valks, they take over on the midfield. Trip all the bombs. Now the King had healers. You see there the healers run from the Queen over onto those Valks. So both groups of Valks have healers now. Jimmy Bob, he's on full health, level 23. All the redheads got a heal. I think there was a building miss down the bottom there. He's got a couple of whizzies for cleanup. Probably missed that elixir storage there in the middle. But just so much left. Still got Jimmy Bob's ability. There was about 8 redheads there. Pops his king. And off they go. So great raid. Muzz. I think Muzzo had a 6-star as well. Coming off the back of a bad war last one. So yeah, really, really good war. Who else did we have get 6? Dennis, Muzz, had a few missed attacks there. But yeah, that's about it for me. Still a bit crook. Poor old Barno's got the day off from work. Hope you guys had a bit of a laugh. And as always, clash on.